product management is 80 to 90% user experience, how you can relate with the user, and 10% technical knowledge as well.
Hello everyone, this is Manideep and I welcome you all to the first episode of the podcast series by SIBM Pune, which is one of the premier B schools in India. This series of podcasts are aimed to connect industry professionals with the young minds in the country. The conversations, stories and thoughts by the stalwarts are expected to enrich the knowledge base of our viewers. In this first episode, brought to you by Product Management and Technology Club SIBM Pune, we are going to embark on a journey where innovation meets strategy and the needs of customer take the center stage. We are going to dive into the world of product management where ideas are turned into actions. We have with us today Mr. Neelesh Das. He is presently the Assistant General Manager Product at Paytm. He brought with him a vast knowledge and experience as a product management professional in media entertainment, fintech, telecommunications and e-commerce sector. Hello sir.
Hi Manideep. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. Hi everyone.
I hope you had a great day.
Yeah.
So, firstly, I thank you, sir, for taking the time to address our viewers today, and I feel excited and happy to host you here.
It's really a privilege to be a part of such an innovative session and such an innovative initiative by my alma mater. It's always a pleasure to be back and help you guys see you guys grow and see you guys take such great initiatives for the betterment of the entire SIBM community. At the same time, the product management community. I feel that product management community in itself was till now a very underdog. It was not talked about much, but it had a lot of potential. People have a lot of myths about it, a lot of doubts about it, and this initiative by you guys will really help our upcoming batches as well as the current batches. Yeah.
And this could only be possible by our support from our alma mater like you, who made this possible for this podcast series. So in the next 30 or 40 minutes, we'll start with discussion on product management, some myths on it, and we'll discuss some exciting product stories. And then we will deal with some questions that MBA students have on product management. So before we start, I want you to share your corporate experience and how is it going for you?
Yeah, so currently I'm working as a AGM product, as Manideep mentioned, in Paytm. I'm looking after the lending products and the merchant payments, peer to merchant payments. So currently, as a part of my role, I am looking at aspects in which I can create different kind of product enhancements and features around lending, specifically BNPL products. And as you might know, RBI has recently introduced UPI payments and credit card, so RuPay. So I'm working on those aspects and trying to create different kind of product features based around those visions in place, and creating a set of roadmap and idealizing those roadmaps around certain business matrices, which we are targeting to fulfill by this financial year end, and closely coordinating with the salespersons and development teams and internal cross-functional teams to bring forward these visions and strategy into full-fledged features for lending and merchant payments.
Yes, sir. I hope this is an exciting journey because these terms we keep hearing in our news and all, and you're working on this. That's an exciting journey, I guess. But sir, I want to know why there is a lot of buzz around the area of product management, and what exactly is product management? Is it similar to project management or different?
Yeah. So I get a lot of these questions from a lot of my not only my juniors as well as my peers as well. A lot of people working in product management are themselves confused. What is product management? Because this is such a complex role. So I'll just give you a very simplified version of product management first, and then I'll take you forward why this buzz and myth is around. So your question had two parts into it. So first, I'll just break down product management for you. So product management in itself is three jobs combined into one. So product management is at the intersection of business. It is a development, that is the dev team, the business team, that is the sales team, and your main part is your customer experience part. So customer centricity, right? So you are basically responsible for revenue. You are responsible for timelines and the development of the features, and also you are responsible for making such features and products which add value not only for the customer, for the business as well, for the entire management as well, right? So you are at the center, you are the cusp of all these three domains, right? So you are responsible for uh, driving the sales, so to talking continuously with the business team, the sales team, whatever feedbacks they bring from their primary research, because they are at the ground, right? They go to the end consumer. They go to, in case of B2B B2C product, they go to the shops, they go to the retail shops, the distributors, and all. They get those feedbacks. In case of B2B product, they talk with the key stakeholders in the company, and they bring those inputs to your place. And you want to channelize those unstructured data and create a vision and talk to the management that these are the key principles which the business team wants in order to drive the revenues further for the quarter or for the financial year. And then you have to communicate all the stakeholders, and after that you have to ship those products by explaining those in the form of PRDs, in the form of documentation, to the development team. You have to make them understand these are the features and these are the prioritization based on the business requirement, based on the management decisions, and based on the reach which I'll have for the end consumers, the value which I'll give for this B2B or B2C customers. And basis that, you create this prioritization and you ship those products in sprints or in drops, right? So that's why it's a very complicated role, because you have to deal with multiple stakeholders. And apart from that, there are ancillary stakeholders like UI UX designer. Then there are people like QA testers who identify bugs, and you have to sit with them to write the test cases. So a lot of different scenarios are there. So since you are involved in all those areas, you are also known as the CEO of your product, right? Product management is also known as the CEO of your product. So a lot of these areas touch base, and like it blurs the line between product management and project management. A project manager, what it does, what they do is they ship features, they are responsible for deliveries, and they are responsible for timelines. So as I told you, that a product manager deals with all these stakeholders. Okay, so in a very ideal happy scenario, what a product management manager will do, he will just discuss with these features with the development team, gather the requirements from business, discuss with management, create a roadmap, and write the PRD and discuss with the development team, and his job is over. Now, if those features are shipped as per timeline, for example, in Q1 I have to deliver feature 1, and Q2 I have to deliver feature 2. That is not his headache. Okay, he's just shipped those, like he's just discuss with dev team, and his job is over. But now, since in this scenario, a lot of revenues and targets are linked. In a CEO, where a product manager is CEO of a product and he owns the product end to end, and that is his ownership, he'll chase the development team for the timelines as well. He'll tell those features are shipped as per the priorities, as per the timelines, and slowly he'll migrate into project manager also, right? So it's not that a product manager should do project management, but it's a small subset of his part. So dedicated project managers or scrum masters, what they do, they keep track of only the delivery. Okay, so they are not responsible for any user experience. They are not responsible for any features. They are not responsible for roadmaps. They are not responsible for business. They're only responsible for timelines and the delivery. So since that part is a subset of product manager, it is expected from them to do those parts, right? So in startups, in a lot of new age startups, and a lot of companies where there is no project management functionalities, the product manager has to wear the hat of a project manager also. But again said, it is not the role of a product manager. This is something they go and do beyond their own KPI. So it's completely different fields. These are not uh, correlated fields. But yeah, if you know those, then you will be obviously you will know your product end to end. Right.
Great, sir. And it's a very great explanation that product management has three parts: developing, sales, and customer experience. It's a very concise explanation. And as you said, project management is just one stage where product manager works on. So a product goes through a journey, and it will have various stages that product managers face. So what do you think is the biggest challenge and the most frequent challenge in this field at any stage?
So one of the biggest challenge which you will find, or which I faced working as a product manager, is like you will have to deal with multiple stakeholders, as I told, right? and each stakeholder will have their own priority, will have their own list of uh, what we call differentiators. So there are some features which are differentiators. There are some features which are table stakes. For example, if you are creating a fintech application, let's say like Paytm, so the login button will be a table stake. It is a must, right? You should have a login button in a financial system. You should have a biometric system enabled, or you should have a security feature, OTP or MPIN system enabled in a fintech system. That is table stake. But there are certain differentiators also, key differentiators, like you mentioned, UPI Lite, which Paytm has introduced, which is not present in any other fintech application or any other wallet ecosystem, right? So these are key differentiators. Now, these key differentiators are also, I might have a list of key differentiators for a quarter. And those differentiators or those key features will be different for different kind of stakeholders. For example, business will tell that UPI Lite will increase my transactions by maybe 10x by this quarter. So ship it as fast as you can, right? Ship it within the next 20 days, right? At the same time, my development will tell that it's a very complex feature. It will need some at least 2 months of effort, including testing, including A/B testing, including proper release management and all those things. I cannot ship it within 20 days. And business will pressurize you that we need this feature because revenue is getting impacted, and this is one of the key features which should be there in the market. So you have to create that balance between your delivery team, the development team, and between your external team, that is the development team. And keeping in line all those things, you have to satisfy the management also, that is the upper management, who is keep putting the bet on you that you should release that feature. You have to convince them also, and you have to come to a very good conclusion. You have to take that neither 20 days nor 2 months. Give me a proper explanation why you need in 20 days, how much revenue it will impact. You have to sit with them, brainstorm them, how it is impacting the sales. At the same time, you have to take the efforts from the development team, whether the efforts they have given are justifiable or not, and whether I can launch a minimum viable product, right? Maybe the full-fledged UPI Lite will take time of 2 months. But if I launch a minimal viable product, which can be integrated with the current UPI system only, and can be launched within maybe a month, so can I reach that kind of a trade-off with a minimum viable product, and can I launch that MVP and do an A/B testing, and then see whether it's actually impacting my revenue, which business is claiming or not, or it's just a fool's errand which I'm chasing. So these kind of things you have to troubleshoot. You have to brainstorm. So that is one of the biggest challenge which you have to face.
So it's basically bringing the trade-off and balancing all the departments. That's the biggest challenge.
Yes. Specifically the business and the development team. Those are the two departments with whom you have to brainstorm a lot. Yeah.
And dealing with multiple stakeholders is always a problem and a challenge.
Yes.
And sir, as you say many words, like I hear developer, testing, these words very frequently. And there is a general myth that getting into product management, you need a technology background, or product management is technology oriented. Is that true?
Not exactly. So see, there are many sources through which you can enter product management. Okay, one is through obviously if you are a person who has done your MBA and who knows how the product industry entirely works, right? So for example, you have done an MBA in marketing, so you know what is what are the basically different modes of how well I can market a product. What is the different stages? What is the customer funnel from user acquisition till user retention, engagement, and then user churn, and then again user revival. So what are the different steps in the funnel? You know those things. You have used a lot of fintech products, a lot of digital products. You have used a lot of offline, online products. So if you are an end consumer, you know product management, because at the end of the day, I feel product manager is someone who sits at the mindset of the user, right? So whatever user feels the pain points are, a product management develops those into features. Simple as that. Okay. For example, today, if I see that I cannot deliver, like I cannot like, for example, when if I had seen when the initial product of Swiggy or Zomato were launched, they simply had a map in place. Okay, they had a map in place, and it showed that okay, your order will reach you within maybe 30 minutes or 35 minutes. Okay, so that 30-35 minutes was very boring for the user. They used to continuously open the app, see, okay, now 25 minutes is left, now 10 minutes is left. So what a good product manager will do, they will try to capitalize or utilize those 35 minutes which the user is waiting, because they are coming to and from back and back. They are coming in my app, right? And that's a huge privilege. That is an asset which I might capitalize. So what they did, they showcased offers, coupons, deals in the waiting page, right? They did a lot of tie-ups with third party. Now if you see Swiggy, they did a lot of offers, coupons, and they show a lot of deals in the waiting page. So this is something which you have to feel as a user. So product management manager might have found that they why when the user is waiting there, so it's a lot of free space which is being yeah, like wasted, that I have to capitalize, right? So that is one of the areas through the user point of view where you can enter product management. Second is through a technical background, which you are talking about. So you are a developer, you have worked at the back end, you know how the system works. Now you are going to the front end and you want to talk with the customer also. So you know the APIs, you know the backend architecture, you know the framework, how it has been built. Now you will just put an app layer on top of it or a web layer on top of it, and you will create an UI and you will talk to the customer. So it's easy for you. See, if you know uh, how like the backend system of Zomato or Swiggy works or Paytm works, you can definitely build an UI around it, UX around it, and you can deliver a product, right? So basically, it's completely a backward integration for you, right? You know the backend, and you're coming and just developing the front end. So that is also one of the streams to which people have entered product management, and I have my peers who came from a development background and now they are product managers. But having said that, it is not mandatory that if you are a product manager, you should have a technical background. So there are a lot of different kind of product manager. There are there are product marketing managers. There are product managers. There are product development managers. There are product maybe product user experience managers. So different companies have different set of managers. So whatever you call it is product management, right? Now it's up to your skill sets and your expertise. If you are a fresh graduate and you do not have a technical background, you can still enter. I was a fresh graduate from SIBM. I entered Mahindra as a product manager. Simply, and since I didn't have a technical background, so I was an engineer. But you know what's the case with most of the engineers? They come to MBA so that they because they are not skillful in coding or stuff like that. So when I entered, I was dealing mostly with the requirement gathering from the business and creating the roadmaps and writing the PRDs and writing the product documents, telling the development team what to do. At times, there were uh, areas where my technical expertise was needed, like what is the API details or what is the architecture. Those times, I used to take the help of the developer and make them understand my requirement. And those requirements were transferred into a line of code or into a feature by the developer themselves. So it's a joint exercise, right? So it's not a challenge. It's basically something which you can at the same time the developer might not know what a user experience is. He might only know that this code will give me this result, right? Outcome. This code will give me this outcome. So you have to explain it to them that if you write this code in this way and if you give this outcome, what are the three possible other outcomes which we can get, so that I can test which outcome will give me best like metrics in terms of user experience, right? So you have to sit with them and you have to brainstorm. So it's not like that. It's a very black and white. It's a gray line. It's a gray line in between. But definitely, product management is 80 to 90% user experience, how you can relate with the user, and 10% technical knowledge as per me. Because I never in my 6 to 7 years of career, I never ever faced a challenge where I had to know coding or Java or any kind of algorithm to deal with product managers. There are development teams for that, so don't need all those things.
So basically, to be a good product manager, the only background we need is to identify opportunities.
Yes, to identify user pain points and convert them into opportunities.
And if we know technology, it's an added advantage.
Yes, it's an added advantage. Obviously, as I told you, right? If you know project management, also it's an added advantage. It will help you, obviously, right? But it's not it's not a showstopper for you. You can go ahead and build beautiful products without a technical background.
And you also mentioned that we as a product manager, we need to connect all the bridges. Like if we have pillars, customer user experience developer, we need to act as a bridge for all those pillars.
Yes,
and
yes.
Also going back to your previous answer where you said when we deal with different departments, we have different challenges. And something similar I can identify in consulting industry as well, where we have our internal processes, but we will have some deadlines and things from clients which we need to do.
Right.
So on the same lines, I want to mention that we at SIBM Pune has a consulting and strategy cell, and in the last year we started a brand new product management cell as we identified their individual potentials.
Okay.
So I want you to explain our viewers the differences between consulting and product management.
Okay, consulting and product management, right? So see, consulting is a very vast domain. Okay, so consulting in itself is something which you are expert in. So in a very layman term, I'll explain first. Okay, so you are expert at something, and you are giving those expertise to somebody who has hired you to do that job. That is consulting. Now, consulting has different shades. Consulting has finance consulting, operational consulting, product management consulting. A lot of big fours and other companies do product management consulting, HR consulting, and other shades as well. Okay. So now, if you want to compare, you can compare product management consulting with product management. That can be an fair comparison, because comparing entire consulting with product management will be a very difficult thing to do, because consulting in itself has very vast has a lot of vast domains into it. So what is the difference between product management consulting and product management is that in product management consulting, you build products for other customers. For other customers, in the sense, it's a B2B2C kind of an experience, right? And product management, what you do, you build products for your own customers or some other customers who are directly linked to your company, right? To give you an example, for example, let's say you are a client based out of US, and you have hired a consulting firm to develop maybe a teaching app for a certification app for adults, let's say. Okay, so now the certification app for adults, and now you are a client in US who are into offline tutoring. So your expertise is not launching an online like a online app for adults for certification, right? But you want to diversify as well. You have seen that during the pandemic, there is a very stagnation in the offline coaching, and you have seen that a lot of people want to scale at the same time, especially corporates, and you want to launch an online academy or tutoring kind of thing for corporates and adults as well. Okay, but your expertise is not that. You have for decades you have operated offline channels like Akash or something like that. You have operated something like that. Okay, uh, so you will reach a firm who can give you those expertise, and at the same time you have a deadline. You have to meet the revenues as well. So you can just reach a firm who has done something in the past like that, and who has an experience in shipping these kind of features very fast. So they will come to some consulting firm. The consulting firm will have a product management consultants in place, a team of experts from grade B schools like SIBM and other schools, who will have those set of warriors in place, and they will have this problem statement that you have to launch in 3 months and um, online, maybe a kind of a marketplace or kind of a tutorial kind of a form, like tutorial kind of a thing for corporates in US market, in app for Android, iOS, as well as in website, so that people can explore those things. Okay, so this is the problem statement, and you will brainstorm with your team, and you have the expertise of launching other apps in US market as well, for app and for Android and iOS and website also. So you have the structure in place, you have the backend in place. What you will do, you will customize those modules for those customers, those that client in US, and you will just uh, tell them that these are our recommendation, and through this, our effort is this, our estimation is this, our costing is this, and we can ship these products in 3 months. The package product one we can deliver in 3 months, including all the features we can deliver in 4 months, and including all the remaining features I can deliver in maybe 6 months. So these are our standard set of features, and then client will have a brainstorm. If they want to customize, they will do customized set of customization. In that case, you as the product manager will deal with the client, your other business. So they will be the stakeholders. Now this is little difficult, because in consulting you are not dealing with the end consumers. Uh, you're dealing with some
Clients.
stakeholders, yeah, clients in other companies, and those people will not share you all the data which you will need. So for example, they might have a set of already onboarded offline users. Okay, but those data points will be difficult to get in all in B2C products or D2C products. Which we have the data sets to tools like Optimizely, through Clever Tap. We get those data points because they're interacting with my own app. I get those data points, and I can brainstorm using those. But there you have to sit and brainstorm with the clients. At the same time, those clients are technically very sound and adapted. They might know their product well, so they will question what the decision which you are taking is actually, how it will benefit. and at the same time they might penalize you also, because you cannot do R&D with the client's product, right? Yeah, they have certain stakes in place, they have their own management in place, with whom also you have to sit, and you have to convince your management, you have to convince their management, and you have to take all the stakeholders. So see, the stakes have become more higher, right? Their management is also involved, so you have to bring all these people into a common forum, and then you have to work on very stringent timelines, because since it's a client, you cannot deviate. And here your role will slowly transition to project management, and you will never know that. So the question which you came like you told me earlier also, right? So that's why a lot of consulting firms have project management, dedicated project management for client facing roles, because their deadlines are very important, and you have to highlight any dependencies and challenges in place. But on the other hand, in normal product management, what you have to do is you have to ship the product for your own consumers, which whom you know. You can just take a phone, and you can, for example, a Zomato product manager will can simply go to his service center or service consumer experience center, or he can simply take a phone and he can call Nilesh or Vanideep, and he can tell that, okay, you ordered a food from me and you face some challenges. Just let me know what are the challenges, and they will give me a genuine feedback, right? It's very easy for you to get those consumer insights into place, right? At the same time, the deadlines will be there, but it will not be so stringent because penalties will be less. Okay. Because if features are good, features are must. But if a feature is not there, your product is still running. Right. Some basic minimum viable product is still running in the market. Yeah. Your quarterly targets might be deviated, but your management will scold you obviously, and they will expect results. But it is not that mandated, because they are not they are not hiring you to do something which they are not good at, right? So those stakes are different in consulting and product manager. So hope I'm able to clear your.
Yes, yes, sir. And also in your discussion, I got a very special career option, I can say, is product management consulting, yes, where if you have that expertise, you're going to share it to various other companies who are struggling with like not having expertise and all. And mostly in case of startups, we can see whenever a startup is coming in EdTech or any other startup, they need technological support, they need product management support. Yes. And I can also mention there are some startups which hire product managers also. Yes. So what if I work as a product manager in a startup, or I work as a product manager in an MNC? So what would the difference be in terms of my learnings or maybe my contributions there?
Okay. So I have basically worked at both. Initially, I worked at Mahindra, but yeah, Paytm you can call a startup. You cannot call a startup because it has been in existence for the past 20 years. So you can call a startup, not startup, but yeah, still that DNA remains as a startup. If you have grown, the DNA is still there in Paytm. The startup culture is still there. But I'll give you some examples. So in an MNC, what you will do is your job is to ship features, okay, to discuss with business to ship those features. And if something is stuck, for example, if you have created a beautiful user experience around your product, and if that user experience and all the PRDs you have created, all the documents have been created, now those things have been delivered to the development team, and development team has given a deadline of say 2-3 months, and then after that the QA testing will be involved, and after that the launch phase and the deployment phase and A/B testing phase, everything is there. So in that case, you will not have much say, because it's a process. It's a process in which it will follow. And the dev will take 2 months, the QA will take maybe 1 month, and then that testing and the A/B testing, and then the cycle. So those processes will be there, and you are just a product manager, who are just taking the requirements, creating roadmap, and creating a PRD and shipping. That's it. That is your job in an MNC, right? And if the dev doesn't deliver, that's not your headache. If the QA doesn't test properly, that's not your headache. And if the timelines are not met, that's not your headache. There are project managers for that. Okay. So you have done your feature enhancement, you have given your product roadmap. That's okay. In a startup, you have to wear multiple hats. You have to go till the delivery. You have to see whether those things are being fulfilled or not. And if those are not fulfilled, you will be held accountable, and you will be questioned why these features have been not developed, because you are the CEO of the product in a startup. That is the DNA with any startup, any culture. You will be held accountable right from requirement gathering, right from quantitative, qualitative analysis, primary, secondary research, which you do with the business team as well as your customers by calling them or by taking feedbacks or surveys from them. till you get those requirements and convert those pain points and values into opportunities, and then create a roadmap, then give it to development, QA, delivery, A/B testing, release. Till that you will be till the time those apps go into App Store and Play Store and goes live, you will be responsible for that. So that's something very challenging. At the same time, it will put you in a lot of pressure, and it will mold you in a way you will never get to learn in an MNC. That is something which I have felt.
So the kind of ownership is like much more
Yes.
than
Yes.
in
The
startup.
stakes become high and the ownership become high, and you get rewarded in both ways, like in terms of learning, in terms of opportunities, growth. You get rewarded equally.
Yes, sir. So in the next phase, I want you, like there are some exciting products in our history or maybe right now. So among those, I want to have a discussion on some 3 products. So first being the iPhone. The iPhone is considered as one of the most successful products in history. And do you, like in short, say what are some reasons or some problems that iPhone caters to for being successful?
For iPhone, right? So see, iPhone is something which, if you compare the history and of iPhone is known for its experience, right? So if you want to tell as a product manager what iPhone stands for, I will only tell user experience, and that user experience distills down to one thing, that is premiumness. So I experience a sense of premiumness when I own an iPhone, right? And that premiumness comes from user experience. So if you might have seen earlier days when Steve Jobs launched the first iPhone, so it was one of the fastest and one of the most optimized, most optimized operating system, right? They were the first to introduce the gestures in place, which we can also easily use in Androids of the world now. So they were the first to use the gestures, the swiping, the pinching, which they converted a real life action into an online action, right? So, for example, if I want to tap someone, they introduce the tap, they introduce the swipe, which was a real life action, and they converted that something into a very beautiful premium experience. And that premiumness and that user experience slowly in today's era translated into loyalty and trust, right? Nowadays, people know that they will deliver me something very premium. That's why people queue up in like Apple stores, right? So they know that. So that user experience is something which iPhone is synonymous for me, and that is one of the primary factors. Maybe the product manager who developed it. So it's a mix of both hardware and the software. So hardware product manager might have delivered the phone itself with its entire structure and its design in place, and it's seamless, so that is easier to hold in hand and all those things. And a software product manager might have developed the entire iOS and the operating system, which is so seamless with this real life gestures. So and together you have iPhone, right? So
and both the software and hardware together have a common motto of customer experience. As you already previously said, that 80 to 90% of success depends on customer experience rather than developing and maybe marketing and all.
Yes. So that is one of the primary driving factors, because the customer experience is something which will lead to your customer retention, right? So whenever you have a product, you will take some time to acquire those customers, which and those translates into cost. That we in today's era we call it customer acquisition cost, or CAC, right? Yes. So if I'm spending some 10 to $20 on acquiring a customer, maybe more than that, I want those customers to stay loyal to me. Because if they churn away, they are not retained, then again I have to spend those same amount in getting more customers in place. So it's always a better bet to give a good experience to the customer and keep them loyal, so that they stay and they bring more customers. So word of mouth, or so some organic methods, right?
Yes, sir. And iPhone is known for its loyalty.
Yes.
And sir, coming to our next product, which is the Paytm wallet. I understand you related to better, and I want you to shed some light on the birth of Paytm wallet and how did it rise.
Okay. So it was way before I joined, but yeah, something if you want to if you want to have a high level understanding, I'll tell you. So see, India was a truly cash dependent economy, right? At one stage, right? If you see before 2016, when demonetization happened, India was too much cash dependent. The only modes of digital payments were debit cards and credit cards. UPI was also not born at that time. UPI was never even heard of something. We could never even imagine what UPI was, right? We only had cash, and cash has its own set of pros and cons, right? And almost, I think, almost 90% of Indian economy, 90 to 95% of the Indian economy was cash driven, right? So, and now, cash is something which was there. You have to understand in the Indian DNA for centuries, not only for decades, but for centuries, right? We had this barter system. After barter system, we got this coins, and coins we got from coins we got cash. So it's been there from eras, right? So to change that behavior, you need some nudge, right? You cannot change the human DNA in it's something like it's so easily. You need some spark, some ignite, right? So how to create that trust, right? So if I tell you, you just go, your phone holds like in today's era, it might seem very feasible that your phone is a wallet and you can do payments using your phone. But if you go maybe not too much far, but 15 years down the line, it might sound very weird. The people are dealing 95%. The data says 95% of the economy was cash dependent, right? And credit cards and the debit cards were with very few percentage of the people. Now, how do you like break that? So when Vijay Shekhar Sharma, the CEO of Paytm, envisioned that, he created a vision of very simple thing of a cashless economy, right? Where most that was a vision. Visions are always vision. They're visionary.
Yeah.
It seems something which is unimaginable, right? So cashless economy at that time was something which was way out of thought. So then the set of product managers and the business teams, and they sat and they brainstormed, is what I have heard, that to create something in which the user feels a sense of trust also, at the same time can seamlessly make payments also, just like cash. Like cash, what you give and you get some change, or the merchant or the shopkeeper or the person can keep the cash, right? At the same time, a flavor introduced there was in today's era, if you have to transfer some amount to some person, for example, I have to transfer some amount to Manideep, so I have to go physically to his place and I have to give him that cash, right? Right. So you have to change that behavior. So you have to give the element that it's completely seamless. You are saving on your time. You are having a sense of security, trust, and all those things into place. So the Paytm wallet came into picture. The Paytm wallet is nothing but an escrow account. It's an account where what you do is the user, whenever they want to do a transaction, they will add some amount from their different sources, right? So they will click on add money, and they will have the usual sources like debit card. That time, debit cards were only the way to add money. There was no UPI and all. So debit card, they will also net banking. Obviously, net banking was there. So net banking was one of the ways. So net banking, they will add the amount into their wallet, and that amount will be used for small ticket transactions only, because initially people didn't trust Paytm that much, the wallet that much. So there were some limits. So RBI also had put a limit. So it was for small ticket transactions. They used to add money into their wallet, and they used to do peer-to-peer transfer, like me sending you, or a small ticket of recharges, utility bill payments like recharge, postpaid, prepaid bill payments. And since these were transactions happening within the ecosystem only, within, for example, my wallet to your wallet, and then bills were being populated in the Paytm app only, and you are making the payments. So it was more secure, right? These were the habit building formations which were done, and then slowly, uh, it transformed into QR code payments. Right? You can directly make payments from my wallet into the merchant's payment. So we came into peer-to-merchant payments also. So first, it's basically me and you. So I'm changing the customer habit, right? Customer habit, like for example, Manideep also doesn't use digital. Neelesh also doesn't use. So I'll build that habit. I'll build that entire ecosystem, and that is known as network effect, which Facebook also did, right? So you have to build that ecosystem first. So once I onboarded a lot of users, I created that dependency. Now I went to the receiving end also. I went to the merchant and told that, see, a lot of users are there. They have their smartphone, they have their Paytm app installed, and they will come to you and tell that I want to do an online transaction. So you have to have that QR code in place. You have to have that sound box in place. You have to have those things in place. If you don't have, you'll be left behind, because that merchant has, the other merchant has, and people will come. They are not carrying cash anymore. They are only having things in their wallet. So slowly, merchants also onboarded, because initially, if you go to a merchant and tell that, boss, I have to do that wallet, they'll say, why should I do that? Everybody is coming with cash in my place and I'm giving them cash. Why do I need that? And then we added some extra elements into this, the sound box and the hassle of changes and all, because they have to give the changes every time. At times they will not have changes. Change will not be an issue. So slowly, this entire thing got transformed, and then rest is history. You know how we added a lot of other features like UPI-based payments, and then we transition. So a challenge which came into place was once money is added into wallet, it cannot be credited back. So that money is waste for me because I can only do recharge, I can do only transfers, I can do payments, merchant payments only. I cannot do anything. So that problem was solved by one of our great product manager peers also. So what they do, they tied up with banks and all, and they told that seamlessly without any fees, I can transfer my money from my wallet to my bank directly. So these are the pain points. See, initially, when you do a product, you brainstorm, you do a testing, you launch a beta, and then you slowly when user interacts with your products, you understand the pain points, and then we launch that. Now we launched integrated wallet with UPI, so you can directly make the payments. And now you will see soon that you can add money using a credit card also into your wallet. So these things are slowly evolving, and the regulatory, the RBI is also knowing those facts as and when they are uh, dealing with these kind of challenges, and with their support, Paytm is also growing. Yeah.
So it again dropped down to like where Vijay sir identified the potential and identified that opportunity where he can improve the customer experience.
Yes, definitely.
And once identified, we also need to keep updating itself and
Yes.
build like particular infrastructure needed so that to make it success. If the merchant weren't having a Paytm scan QR code, it wouldn't have been a success. So it's again
Yes, you have to build that entire ecosystem. So again, the customers you have acquired, right? Like Manideep and Neelesh, which I have acquired, you have to retain them, right? If I give them same, okay, peer to peer, so and by that time, a lot of other competitors in the market like PhonePe, FreeCharge, MobiQuick, a lot of wallets were also present. So in order to stand ahead of them, you have to build something which was not present in somebody else. So that came in the form of the strong merchant network, which at today's date Paytm has. So Paytm QR code you can find from a small vegetable vendor to a biggest brand like Haldiram's, right? So you will find those things there. So that network that became a differentiator for us, because at the end of the day, everybody will again the table stakes will be there, right? That me too features will be there everywhere, but you have to create the differentiator so that your customers remain loyal to you. So that experience. Right.
And as you said, infrastructure, however, being a key role, we also deal with one of the present trending products, I can say ONDC. So
Right.
do you view ONDC as a product? And since a product is designed to meet needs of customer, what needs does ONDC cater to and how it's going on?
So for ONDC, see, ONDC is a very great initiative by the government of India. ONDC is basically, we call it in our product management language, is the basically UPI of e-commerce,
E-commerce.
right? Yeah, UPI of e-commerce. So it's something which is very good, which government has done, but there are still ifs and buts. So a lot of regulatory considerations are needed into that. So Paytm has also integrated with ONDC at current stage. If you order food from Paytm, it's through ONDC only. Okay, but the thing is, it's something which we have to take with a pinch of salt, because see, we cannot compare ONDC with Zomato, Swiggy's, or Flipkarts of the world, because ONDC doesn't guarantee you the delivery part, right? It's just a platform, and there are basically the supply side and the demand side, and they are just giving you the best out of both sides, right? So the experience part, they will not be responsible, right? So somebody like what Paytm did with UPI or PhonePe did with UPI, they are aggregators, agreed, but they are platforms, agreed, but they took that UPI stack, they took that technology stack, and they built a great user experience and user driven product out of it. So similarly, ONDC is good for a technology stack, but platforms like Zomato, platforms like Swiggy, platforms like Flipkart, they should build some experience around it. They should try to deliver some feature around it. Then only it will be useful, because ONDC as a technology stack is good. It's an open source, it's a good technology stack. But again, if I order food through ONDC and a Paytm integrates, Paytm doesn't own delivery fee. Neither the restaurant, like maybe I'm ordering from, let's say, any restaurant I'm ordering, and they don't own delivery fleet. The delivery fleet will be third party delivery logistics, which who will be again integrated to ONDC. If some quality issue happens, if the delivery becomes late, who will the customer contact? Who is the customer, who will be a point of contact? I cannot call Paytm and own them responsible because they are just integrated. And I cannot call the restaurant because they are just sending it to some delivery person. If I call the delivery person, they will tell that the food came late from the restaurant. So who is owning that? Zomato, Swiggy in today's era, or Flipkart owns that, right? If something is late, they can be held accountable because they are responsible for entire end-to-end, and for that they charge a fee, right? So that is what I feel is a gap. But yeah, the technology stack is good, and that can be capitalized by these people and the e-commerce platforms to deliver a great product experience.
So as every product in their growing stage, it has challenges. ONDC also, as you mentioned, is one of the greatest challenges, the ownership that
Yes.
about the items or the products that taken.
Right.
Yes, sir. And since we discussed about these three products, we got to learn three different lessons from these products. It's a great learning for me.
Yes.
So
Yes.
as an MBA student, I have some doubts regarding this field of product management. So firstly, what are some skills and qualities that we should have to excel in the field of product management? And are there any specific tools or frameworks that we should be familiar with?
Obviously, see, product management, you need some set of skills. First set of skills is basically understanding any product, right? So your day-to-day products which you use, right, from listening music from on Spotify till using Instagram for your social media post, you should, whatever flow you use, right, from the time you create your account or you post, these are different unique flows, right? So if you want to transition into product management, if you're a fresher or if you're a person, a fresh graduate from MBA school, so my recommendation is whichever top 5 products which you use daily, take them, and from different domains, right? For example, for payments, you might use Paytm, right? For social media, you might use Instagram. For music, you might use Spotify. For maybe for watching videos, you might use YouTube. And at the end of the day, maybe for some other reason, you might use some other apps like XYZ apps, right? So whichever apps you're using, so you create an end-to-end user flow for that, right? End-to-end user flow for each and every use cases, right? So you try to identify the North Star metric of each product. So we have something called North Star metric, which is the primary purpose for which the product is built, right? That is their core feature. Without that, that feature is nothing, right? For example, for Paytm, the North Star metric is successful payments for the user. That's the North Star metric. So if the payments are not happening successfully, then the Paytm app is flawed.
It's right? Basically the USP of that particular product.
Yes, USP, right. So for Spotify, it's like a seamless listening experience for the user, right? The North Star metric can change based on your product vision from time to time, but at this stage, these are the North Star metric, right? For Airbnb, it's basically finding affordable housing for the user, and for the host, it is renting their house perfectly on the platform, right? So that more and more hosts see their house and rent it out, right? So, so these are the North Star metric of your product. Try to identify this North Star metric by creating the entire flow. For example, for Paytm, if I have to do a successful payment, what is my end-to-end, right, from my in the customer funnel, right? Try to identify this, study these. What are the challenges, right? Discuss with other your peers. What are their feedbacks on that? Take part in a lot of product discussions. We call it AMAs. Try to be a part of a lot of other product fraternities like Product School. We have Product School. We have the Product Folks. We have the PM School, which is an India-based startup. We have Air Tribe. These are like good product communities. They have their WhatsApp channels as well. They have their channels on LinkedIn as well, so you can follow them. And in tools particularly, so these things you create, and a high level, you can create these wireframes also, these mockups also. So for example, take these screenshots from your phone, put it in a PPT, try to understand the flow. What are the challenges? Try to improve using some high level mockups, using some your pen paper or using tools like Balsamiq. Balsamiq is a very good tool for creating high level fidelity wireframes. You have Figma also. If you are good and you know a little bit of UI UX, you can try your hands in Figma also to create those UI UX. So these are good tools for creating the prototypes. To understand the customer behavior, to get those data points, you can get used to tools like CleverTap. It's a very good tool for getting the user insights within your ecosystem. For example, the number of actions the user performs within your app, right? From clicking on the login tab till doing a recharge. So whichever small events they perform. If your app is integrated with CleverTap, you can definitely go to the data sets and those define those metrics and take action accordingly for your product improvement. So have a kind of an overview of CleverTap. No Jira and Confluence end to end. Jira is and Confluence are basically should be a bible for any product manager. Confluence is something where you hold your repositories, your PRDs, product requirement documents, which we call it, your presentations, your entire set of UI UX flows you can host on Confluence. And Confluence is directly linked with Jira. The moment you upload, for example, I have to develop a login feature for Paytm. I wrote a PRD, created the mockups, gave the end-to-end steps, and then I uploaded it on Confluence. And Confluence is directly linked to a tool called Jira. Jira is basically a tool where a ticket is created for the developer to identify how much time they will need and how many sprints can they deliver that product. And so it's completely an intelligent ecosystem. So have an onboarding of have a idea of Confluence and Jira. Then there are a lot of other tools for A/B testing also. For example, for A/B testing, one of the interesting tool is Google Firebase, Google Analytics. These tools, you should know how to integrate these things and get data sets from those products. So these are some of the high-level tools which should be good enough for you to have a launching pad in product management.
Yes, sir. And I observed, like you told one thing, the USP of the product. We need to identify the USP of the product, and also when we want to build or learn about a product, first thing is to understand it. And this I can relate to because when I was working in a company, there is one of my friend who was working in a food tech company where he was to improve the user experience of his particular food delivery app. And the first thing the company did was to ask him to benchmark on the other apps so that to understand what's it going on.
Right. So that is called competitive analysis. That is one of the important aspects of your product manager. That's perfectly. So you can take maybe that is a second step actually. First, if you identified your product, your top 5 product, then you take maybe like compare Zomato with Swiggy or Instagram with maybe something called Facebook or maybe some other Snapchat per se. These are all competitors working in the same space. What are the key differentiators? And then you take maybe some others, maybe Spotify, you take and compare it with Ghana. So do those comparisons, do those ifs and buts, and then try to understand how those products work, right? My suggestion is to take a particular product and from a particular domain and do a tear down of that product end to end, and then go to the next step of competitive mapping. And once the competitive mapping has been done, then you can brainstorm with your peers for how those improvements can be made, right?
Great, sir. So it's a complete journey that you explained right now.
Yes, sir.
And my last question is, what advice do you give to first-year MBA students who are considering a career in product management, considering that the future holding for the field of product management is highly impactful on businesses at present?
That's a very nice question, actually. So first, I would suggest that see, don't take any tension. Okay, product management, consulting, like brand manager, business analyst, whatever job you do, it will impact business some way or the other, right? So all a part of the business. But in order to take it like that, add that chink in your armor, right? If you want to succeed in that particular domain, one thing you can do is follow a lot of good leaders, good product management leaders in LinkedIn. So we have a lot of set of leaders in LinkedIn. So as I told you, once you join those groups, like the product school, the PM school, and the product folks, right? These kind of air drive, these kind of groups. Once you join in LinkedIn, you will get to watch, observe passively as well as actively. So first few weeks or few days, you observe passively what those leaders have to say, right? A lot of leaders, they are like in very they are very veterans in the field of product management. They have worked in companies like Facebook and Google for decades, and they have delivered successful products, not only single product but multiple products, be it hardware, software, B2B, B2B2C, B2C, direct to consumer, and a lot of other products, right? So what they have to say, see, observe that, make notes about it, and then start taking part in these conversations. Also comment your views, put forward your AMAs, and then there are one of the greatest things this product school or PM school does is they give you certain case study competitions, right? And these are completely free competitions. You can go to their websites, see the case study of the week. For example, they will give you some case study like how to develop a maybe monetization, how to develop a payment feature for Spotify, right? So right now Spotify is just Snapchat. How to develop a payment feature for Snapchat. So if you see, initially WhatsApp was a communicating mechanism, right? So slowly they started WhatsApp Pay also. So you can pay through WhatsApp as well, right? So nobody could have imagined that a social media platform can be used as a fintech platform, right? As a payment platform. So similarly, these kind of like brain turning cases they give, like launch something for Snapchat where you have to sit and you have to identify the entire fintech market and the entire market for social media. Then you have to create a synergy between those two. Think of the product enhancements, or how can those features be created into a roadmap, and what is the impact. So there are a lot of sample PPTs as well in their website, and on their product page also in LinkedIn. You can go through that, work around that. So it will help you a lot to understand how uh, like the world of product management works and how it can impact the business, which is your core question, right? So impacting business is basically an outcome of the initiatives and ideas which you take and deliver into features, right? So product manager is sitting again, yes, it's true, at the cusp, right? So it's dealing with a lot of stakeholders, but since you are in that chain and you are responsible for your product, you will be held accountable, because the product is again, success is important. So go through that and try to understand how those KPIs are, what are the matrices, what are the primary matrices. So every business has primary sets of matrices. You have revenue matrices like ARR, the annual recurring revenue, and then you have the like DAU, the daily active users, and how those are converting into my ARR, right? So try these combinations, how those matrices, revenue matrices are being tracked, how those are being, like these certain intangible features are converted into tangible matrices, and those tangible matrices are directly converted into revenue for the business. So try to understand those checks and balances in place. If you do a research around it in Google, you will be able to understand. If you go through those case studies as well for PM school or the product school and Air Drive, you will understand how this entire case study works. It's basically like a case study which we submit uh, in our B school competitions as well. So you have to understand a new market. You have to identify the user's persona. You have to give certain pain points, and those opportunities can be transitioned to a certain set of opportunities, then features, then prioritization of that features, and then how will you impact it, right? It's basically those set of flows only, but in a more nuanced manner for a product, right? Try to understand that.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for that advice, sir. The best thing I can take it from you is you need to connect, learn, and participate. So, with that great advice, the session comes to an end. So, I would like to thank you, sir, for sharing your thoughts and enlightening us about the field of product management. We discussed about various challenges in the product management. We broke some myths, and you also informed us or guided us on various sources that we can learn product management. And your advice for us is also insightful. So I hope the insights helped our viewers understand the field better and had clarified some myths. Personally, I learned a lot from this session. And product management, as you said, is one of the revolutionary areas to work. And we at SIBM believe that by building a strong community of like-minded individuals, we can help drive innovation and progress in the field of product management, both within our institute and beyond. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast, sir, and we would love to meet you in person at our beautiful Hilltop campus whenever you are here.
Definitely, definitely. It was great interacting with your team as well, Manideep, and you as well in particular. The set of questions which you prepared were really insightful, to the mark and to the point. You had done your like complete research around this field. Keep up doing this good work. Launch further more episodes. Enlighten the entire fraternity within SIBM and within the product management community. Also, we need young minds like you to like ignite the PM spark from the very beginning itself. so that we as a fraternity are able to deliver more great products and more great companies in the coming future. It was really great interacting with you guys, and definitely looking forward to meet you guys in the campus.
Thank you so much for those words.